Thanks, Amy, and thanks, Phil, and the team at Noosa Mining, and thank you for hosting me again this year. And unfortunately, I can't be there in person, but obviously, it's been a fantastic year for Chalice. So nice to present to you all on our progress and our development this year. So our usual forward-looking statements and disclosures, they're available to view on our website in full. So Chalice, for those who haven't heard of us, we're a unique company. We're an exploration specialist with a globally significant discovery. We made a high-grade PGE nickel, copper, cobalt discovery earlier this year. The discovery is called Julimar. It's considered Australia's first major palladium discovery, but it's also got in entirety, it's got a suite of critical metals that really are critical to our clean energy future. It's a rare combination of a new district, a brand new discovery, and a new mineral province. So as well as that discovery, we've got a pretty unbelievable pipeline of greenfield discovery opportunities around Australia. Obviously, we've got a first mover advantage in the new mineral province we've found in the western part of WA. We've also got large exploration holdings in exciting provinces like the western part of the Kimberley and the northern part of Victoria. We've got 7 rigs currently drilling for us across 2 projects. So not only at the discovery at Julimar, but also in Victoria. And we're a well-funded, high-performance group. Our track record is exceptional. We've got a proven ability to make these discoveries and really define mining operations. And our balance sheet is looking pretty healthy with 50 million in cash and investments at the moment. This is our portfolio. So we've got the exciting new discovery called Julimar. There's our discovery hole listed there. It was the very first hole ever drilled on the project. 19 meters at 8.4 grams palladium, 2.6% nickel, 1% copper, and 0.1% cobalt. It was a quite spectacular intercept. Just the base metals alone would be considered fantastic, but to add high-grade palladium, and for those who aren't familiar with palladium, palladium's trading at about $400 per ounce premium to gold at the moment. So it's trading around $2,300 US an ounce. So that's a spectacular discovery intercept. And obviously we've got 100% ownership of this very large intrusive complex. It's a very short distance from Perth in WA. We've got 5 rigs drilling on that property, aiming for a maiden resource estimate in the middle of next year. As I said, we are drilling also in Victoria. We've got 2 diamond rigs drilling on our 5,000 square kilometre holding there, surrounding the Fosterville gold mine. We've got a 4 kilometre long target there that's the subject of diamond drilling at the moment. We've also got our Hawkstone project in the West Kimberley. There's 1,800 square k's of licence there. We just recently completed our first ever drill holes, and we're waiting on assays for those at the moment. In terms of Chalice, our top shareholders are listed on the left there. Tim Goyder, the chairman, owns 12%. Franklin Templeton, another long-term holder, owns 8%. Regal has been a new entrant with 5%. And then we've got a growing list of institutional names now joining this register. Market capitalisation today is about $1 billion at about $3.20. We have 308 million shares on issue roughly. And as I said, about 50 million on the balance sheet. And looking at the bottom right part of the page there, you would see that it's been a spectacular year for Chalice shareholders. We're up something like 1,700% for the year. So we started the year around the 15 cents a share mark. And as I said, we're now trading around $3.20. We are still at the very early days of truly understanding the scale of our recent discovery though at Julimar. You can see there every time we've provided updates to the market, we've really established almost a step change in the valuation of this project, and I can guarantee you that there's a long way to go yet before we fully understand the true scale of it. So this is the project. On the left hand side there's a map showing where Perth is and where the discovery is. Our granted tenements in blue and our application tenements in red on top of a magnetic image. So it was as I said, it was a high-grade PGE nickel, copper, cobalt discovery. It's a pretty remarkable discovery. It's very close to Perth, which means it has all those infrastructure that you require for a very large base metals and precious metals operation. It's very well located from that perspective. It's basically a 26-kilometre long package of intrusive geology called the Julimar Complex, and we staked this in early 2018. We've been limited to where we can explore thus far just on the very southern end of that 26-kilometre long feature. That's because that part of the complex is on private land. So our first hole was in March 2020, so only about 8 months ago now, and was the discovery hole. We've termed the new province the West Yilgarn Nickel Copper PGE province, really because it's right along this western margin of the Yilgarn Craton. And we've got something like 8,000 square kilometres now of new licence applications in the province, including that 2,000 square kilometres you can see there on the map on the left-hand side around Julimar. So we've got a very unique first mover advantage, and really we've got years ahead of us of exploration to fully understand the potential of this province. So this is on the left-hand side of this page, a bit of a summary of all results we've had to date on the project. As I said, it's an exceptional new discovery. It really does have the potential to be a world-class deposit of critical metals. The intrusion on the southern end of this feature is about 1.6 kilometres long from north to south, about 800 metres wide, and very much open up to the top left of that page to the northwest. We've got 5 zones of shallow high-grade mineralisation to date, but many more to be defined just yet. All of them remain open. So we haven't gone and closed off any of these zones as yet. We're still stepping out and still finding more. And we've also got a 1.2 kilometre strike length along that eastern contact of the intrusion that has a number of wide space high-grade intersections in there, and obviously more infill to do there to fully understand that. Not only does this system have high grade, it's also got a halo of disseminated sulfide mineralisation surrounding it. We've basically proven that extends down to about 800 metres below surface. As well as that, we've got widespread PGE-rich oxide material. So basically we have high-grade mineralisation with high-grade precious metals, including those PGEs and gold, essentially from surface to 25 metres deep. So really, there is really no waste to mine, if you like, in this deposit. You're into high-grade mineralisation from the get-go. In terms of metallurgical test work, it's an early stage of where we're at, but we have demonstrated that our sulfide mineralisation will float. So we're looking at very conventional processing techniques to float those sulfides. We haven't seen any deleterious elements that could attract penalties from smelters. And our oxide mineralisation as well, we've had an initial sort of proof of concept with the ability we've seen the precious metals being able to be leached out of that material. So we've got a long way to go yet before we fully define the system, but we've got about a 70,000 metre resource definition drill program ongoing at the moment. As I said, 5 rigs currently on the project. So looking at these red zones first up, so this is looking down on the intrusion towards the northeast. You can see over about 550 metres there, we have 4 red lenses of high-grade mineralisation. You can see that they're palladium and nickel rich. They're between 5 and 40 metres wide, but typically, quite a bit wider, like in that sort of 10 to 15 metres average range. You can see some of the intersections there. We're getting in those red zones. There's phenomenal metal content in these intersections. These zones are very palladium rich, as I said, but also you can look at the base metals numbers there on the page. They're quite exceptional. We've also got, very much open. You can see all the open arrows there on that page, and you can see the lack of drilling really off to the left-hand side here, down dip and as well as along the strike. So we've got a long way to go yet before we fully define those zones. Looking at a cross-section through those, you can see the 4 stacked lenses of high-grade mineralisation here. This is 340 metres of dip extent here to this G2 zone where my cursor is there now. You can see that the intercepts, they're pretty consistent high-grade. These lenses hang together very nicely. They're also internal to the intrusion. So they're some way, they're about 250 metres away from where the margin of the intrusion is. So you can see that the margin of the intrusion hasn't really been fully tested by any extent just yet. So all of these zones, as you can see, remain open, and there's a lot of drilling yet to be done to understand the true scale of them. this G4 zone and the newly identified eastern contact, which sort of runs on this eastern side of the intrusion. This is a fairly recent development. This G4 zone we think is a different style of mineralization, more copper, gold, and platinum rich than the red areas of mineralization there. You can see some of the intercepts there. They're sort of 20 to 25 meters wide, again, wide open. We haven't done a lot of assaying for the other 4 PGEs in these zones either. So we're waiting on a number of assays to confirm those other 4 metals, the content there. But obviously a lot of wide space drill holes, really that, are intersecting high grade mineralization on that contact or the footwall position of the intrusion. So a lot more drilling to go, as I said. And looking again at a section, you see on the left-hand side of the page here, this is those red G1, G2, more nickel palladium rich zones here internal to the intrusion. And then you've got a couple of 100 meters to the east, and you see this eastern contact position starting to develop. And, there are what looks like pods of high-grade PGE copper gold mineralization, associated with that contact. So a very, very promising recent development, and a lot more news to come on fully defining what's out there. Looking now at the intrusion towards the west, this is a pseudo long section, just demonstrating, I guess one of the largest sort of step out holes we've recently drilled. This hole JD18 is about an 800 meter step out. So you can see the scale of this figure here, like demonstrated by this blue arrow, showing just the degree of confidence, I guess, in what we're doing. We're stepping out 800 meters and testing this deep EM plate here down at about 600 meters. We're waiting on assays for that hole at the moment. They will be received shortly. Basically, we have proven that the intrusion is still out there off the northwest, and there's sulfide content in the intrusion there. So it's you can see that these red zones, particularly G1, G2, have a strong sort of northerly plunge component to them. So definitely, we think we've got a long way to go yet, and a lot more holes to do in this area to fully understand the potential size of these zones. One of the most exciting developments for us in the last couple of months was an airborne EM survey that we flew over the entirety of the complex. So these 2 images here are zooming back a little bit. On the left-hand side, you can see a magnetic image, and on the right-hand side, an EM image in a mid-time channel 15. This shows basically everything I've been talking about really is just the southern end of the complex down here. They're called Gonville. So we've established that is a potential world-class deposit here on private land off the southern end of the state forest. The state forest boundary is shown there in green. But then you can see immediately north, there's at least a 6.5 kilometre long EM anomaly that is quite spectacular, extension, if you like, to that discovery that hasn't yet had a drill hole into it. So Hartog, that anomaly there is one of the most exciting, I think, EM features seen for some time around the world. This is truly a globally significant project, and really this has the potential to be a real new district. You can see that the EM shows not only that Hartog signature, but also these more subtle features here, Baudin and Jan, some 10 and 18 kilometres away from the discovery. So we really do have, there's not a single drill hole in that Julimar State Forest. So there's a massive amount of work to do to understand the mineral potential here. But you can see obviously there that this has real potential to be something that is globally significant.